script, but he wasn't supposed to direct it. But Zac fought for him to get his opportunity because he really felt he believed in Tom's vision for it, and that's something I think Tom has continued to do, or Zac has continued to do throughout his career, in backing talent that he believes in. Also, one of the producers on that was Kevin Turin, who passed away suddenly and recently, and I just kind of wanted to give a nod to Kevin. He was very much an ally for us on that one, and just wanted to give him a shout out. But yeah, it was a rom-com set in New York, and it was me, Michael B. Jordan, and Zac, and we were all like 24, 25. We had the keys to the city, and we had a lot of fun, But I will never forget meeting Zac for the first time. He had just finished up a rehearsal for the day. Zac was sitting at the hotel bar, and I never met Zac, and so I walk over to him, and he sees me coming up. He gets up and he comes right up to me and he says, "Man, I'm so glad you're doing this movie. I'm such a big fan. I've been wanting to work with you. You're so talented." And it was at that moment that I realized he was talking to Michael B. Jordan, who was, I didn't notice, but he was standing right behind me. Humbling moment. Now, even though Zac, you and I are the same age, and at the time we were the same age playing similar parts, our experiences up until that point and our resumes could not have been, any different. You were a certified stud already. You've been doing it. I was looking through your resume like 2002. So I was a freshman in high school, and you were already kind of getting your chops going and building your resume on screen. I remember you had a production company. And I was like, what is that? How does it? I'm just excited to be acting. But yeah, you had already worked with Richard Linklater and Lee Daniels and Ramin Djawadi and Gary Marshall. He was on coffee mugs and underwear and lunchboxes. And more probably, those are just the items I own. And Zac signed for me at the rap party. Yeah. I'm sure some people out here probably still have like some lunchboxes and we're the same age, but honestly, I can't remember a time without knowing the name Zac Efron. You personified and embodied what it meant to be a movie star. You were the guy. And, I thought about it a lot, about how tough it must have been to be, basically 18 years old, right, when you're doing a high school musical and be catapulted into that kind of stardom. And Hollywood is a really tough place, and there's a lot of stories where 20 years later, they're not standing up here in this capacity. So that's something that I've always kind of admired about you, is your grit to be able to deal with that. But Zac didn't just want to be famous. He didn't care about being on the cover of all those magazines. He wanted to be an actor. And that is why we're here today, because Zac has delivered on that promise. He's a true triple threat with a combination of immense talent, incredible work ethic, and an above average face. There isn't, it's like a 5 plus 6. There isn't a type of film, Zac, that you haven't starred in and excelled in. He sung and danced and held his own opposite Hugh Jackman, which you've seen. That is really impressive. Working with Matthew Perry has since said, that he was so impressed with your comedic abilities working with him that he said if there was ever to be a biopic on him, he would want you to play. Yeah. I know how much that meant to you. He's one of the all-time greats. He's played everything from the Lorax to Ted Bundy. And I know you weren't the actual Lorax, but I just forget the kids' character's name that you played. But you're the Lorax to me, but he's worked with directors like Harmony Korine and Peter Farrelly. He also went ab for ab with Dwayne Johnson. What a ab for ab. Honestly, Zac, going through your resume in preparation for this speech, I realized why we will go months and months without seeing each other because your schedule is just insane. You are relentless. You're relentless in your passion for storytelling and characters, and your empathy and curiosity for the world we live in and those we share it with, which is apparent in the work you've done in your series Down to Earth and the various other humanitarian-based efforts you did during your time in Australia, and also in California, and what that means to you to take care of the place that helped raise you. Zac, it has been an honor to share the screen with you and to become your close friend and ally. I've never once felt a competitiveness between us, and I've never wanted anything for you other than for you to succeed and to continue to let your light shine, brother. I am so proud of you for the man that you've become. And so congratulations on having your star on Hollywood Boulevard somewhere in between Kermit the Frog and Lassie. Keep on doing your thing, man. We'll be watching.
Juggling a lot of people are out of work, facing economic uncertainty, really struggling. So all of these stressors tend to exacerbate any cracks in the relationship or any struggles. So the first is to be aware of what your triggers are, when you're getting triggered. I like to think of, if you think about your anger and your frustration, let's go from 0 to 10. 10 being you're screaming at your partner and you're saying
10 usually. I'm usually at 10. Go on.
Yeah. Well, that's why we want to keep you out of a relationship for a while until you learn some skills. And 0 being like you're totally calm, cool, like hanging on the couch, feeling good. You want to look at what is that point of no return. Like as your anger mounts, as your frustration mounts, and we all have, our frustrations on a day-to-day basis, you want to be taking your temperature. You want to go, okay, what is that point of no return? For a lot of people, maybe a 7 or an 8. Let's say yours is an 8. What you want to do is be taking your temperature and checking in and going, okay, where am I on this scale right now? Okay, you know what? When you get about 2 points lower than your breaking point, so if you're an 8, when you hit a 6, it's time to take a timeout. I really like timeouts for adults. I don't like them very much for kids, which is a whole other thing. But to be able to say to your partner, plan it in advance, hey, I heard this therapist talk with Ryan Fu, and she recommended couples take a timeout when things are getting too heated, because what happens is if you're too hot when you have the conversation, it's not going to be productive. It's a waste of your time. People just get their feelings hurt. People say terrible things to each other. Take a timeout. When you hit a 6, hey, I think I'm too worked up to have a productive conversation. Let's take a break. Let's meet back in the kitchen an hour, or let's sleep on this and talk about it in the morning. You're not abandoning your partner. You're not screaming and running out the door, but saying, hey, I'm too hot right now. Like, I can't talk about this right now, but I do want to work this out. Let's talk about this later.
So she's about to throw that beer bottle at me. I'm like, let's take a time out here.
2 points below the beer bottle throwing. That's when you want to take the time out.
Beautiful. Since the COVID lockdown,